Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are diving into the incredible blueprint of compounding interest, specifically to show you exactly why time is without a doubt your absolute greatest financial asset. If you've ever looked at personal finance and thought, this is really only for the wealthy, or assumed you needed a six-figure salary just to get a foot in the door, you're going to love what we have in store. We are stripping away all the complex jargon today to look at the pure, undeniable math. We'll see exactly how small, everyday choices can just completely snowball into life-changing wealth. We're going to rely heavily on the numbers, but I promise you, these numbers tell a seriously compelling story. Let's get into it. Right off the bat, if you've ever felt like you are just way too broke to start building wealth, let's validate that right now. It is a completely normal reaction. You look at your budget, you see rent, groceries, transportation, maybe a little left over for fun, and the idea of locking away hundreds of dollars for the future, it just feels totally out of reach. We hear it all the time. I'm a student. I can barely afford lunch. How can I possibly invest $200 a month? Well, let's completely dismantle the myth that you need massive disposable income to get in the game. The really good news we're going to prove today is that you absolutely do not need to start with $200. The math works at literally every single amount. Honestly, the hardest part is simply taking that very first step. Section 1. The math of $100. Let's see exactly how these smaller amounts actually add up. Imagine taking just $100 a month and giving it the runway of a full career, say from age 18 all the way to 65. Even at a pretty modest 6% annual return, that $100 a month grows to over $313,000. Bump that up to an 8% return, and it snowballs into over $621,000. And at a 10% return, you're looking at over $1.2 million. But here's the truly mind-bending part. The total amount you actually contributed out of your own pocket over those 47 years is just $56,400. Think about that. You put in 56 grand, and at an 8% return, you get back over 600,000. That is the sheer magic of compounding interest. The vast majority of your final wealth isn't money you earn by working, it's your money earned by working for you. Moving right along to Section 2, the daily dollar breakdown. Just $3.33 a day. Now, sometimes $100 a month still sounds like a pretty chunky utility bill. So let's reframe it a bit. When we break it down to a daily amount, we are talking about just $3.33 a day. That is literally less than a standard daily coffee from your local cafe. It's the equivalent of skipping maybe one moderately priced restaurant meal per week. Or, honestly, it could just be canceling 2 or 3 of those streaming subscriptions that you completely forgot you even had. When you look at it this way, the dollars needed to build real long-term wealth suddenly shift from feeling impossible to incredibly accessible. It isn't about massive sacrifice at all. It's really just about tiny, almost unnoticeable reallocations of your daily spending. Okay, but what if even that feels like a stretch right now? What if things are tight, you're looking at your budget and thinking, I can't even swing $100, I could maybe do 50. You're probably wondering if half that amount is even worth the hassle, or if you should just, wait until you're making more money. Well, let's look at how that plays out. Because the formula for compounding interest is perfectly linear when it comes to your monthly payment, cutting your contribution in half produces exactly half the future value. But half is still incredible. Just $50 a month, which is roughly $1.67 a day, still builds a life-changing supplement. At an 8% return, that $1.67 a day grows to over $310,000 by the time you hit 65. Now, is 300 grand going to buy you a private island? No, but it is an absolutely massive financial cushion for your retirement, and it is all funded by literally $1.67 a day. The math doesn't care how small the amount is. It only cares that you actually start. Which brings us perfectly to Section 3, why time matters most, the ultimate cost of waiting. The real hero of this story, hands down, is the stark reality of the calendar. Time is the secret ingredient that makes compounding work. Let's run a quick thought experiment and contrast 2 totally different timelines for the exact same monthly investment. In scenario A, you start at age 18. You invest that $100 a month at an 8% return for 47 years. As we saw earlier, you end up with $621,790. But now let's look at scenario B. Here you decide to wait. You tell yourself, I'll start investing when I'm more established in my career. You wait a full 20 years until you're 38 to start investing that exact same $100 a month at the exact same 8% return. You do this for the remaining 27 years until you hit 65. Your final balance? Just $114,150. Let that number sink in. $507,640. That massive figure is the devastating penalty of waiting 20 years to start. the person who started 20 years earlier ends up with over $500,000 more, even though they were only putting in the exact same $100 a month out of pocket. Those missing 2 decades of compounding are actually worth more than 5 times the eventual balance. It's crazy, right? The time your money spends in the market is vastly more powerful than the amount of money you actually put in. You cannot easily earn $500,000, but you can for sure let time build it for you. So let's talk about what we do with this. Section 4. Automate your wealth. Pay your future self. I hope this brings a real sense of urgency without feeling like a panic. You can't change the past, but you can absolutely dictate what happens starting right now. Now, you might have heard of the latte factor, the whole idea that cutting out your daily coffee is magically going to make you rich. But the real takeaway here isn't about feeling guilty over buying a coffee or a pastry that you genuinely enjoy. Instead, let's apply the latte factor in reverse. The strategy is so simple. Automate your wealth. Set up a system so that the very moment your paycheck arrives, your chosen amount, 50, 100, whatever it is automatically transferred into your investment account before you even have a chance to see it in your checking account. By doing this before you spend on the fun stuff, the investment becomes practically invisible. You literally won't miss what you never saw. But over the long term, over those decades we just looked at, that invisible daily habit becomes completely transformative. It's all about paying your future self first, automatically, every single time. So we've seen the math. We've seen how $1.67 a day can turn into over $300,000 and how $3 and change a day can become over 600 grand. And maybe most importantly, we've seen that massive $500,000 penalty for waiting. Knowing that time is your absolute greatest financial asset, the only question left to ask yourself is this: are you going to let another day of compounding just slip by? Or what is the small, automated amount you are going to put to work today? Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait for the perfect salary. Start small, automate it, and just let time do the heavy lifting for you. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. It's been awesome diving into this with you, and I will catch you on the next one.